On this channel, we provide useful programming information with practical code examples. This time, we're discussing best practices in Python. We will explain Python best practices with actual code samples, introducing ways to write readable and maintainable code. Enabling subtitles will make the code descriptions easier to understand. First, let's look at making readability the top priority. Python is a language that values readability. First, prioritize writing code whose intention is clear at a glance. In this code, variable names do not convey their meaning, so it takes time for others to understand it later. By making variable names specific, your code itself serves as documentation. Next, let's look at writing explicit code. In Python, explicit intention is preferred over implicit behavior. In this code, it is unclear what is expected of data, creating fertile ground for bugs. By making conditions explicit, the code's intent matches its specification. Next, let's look at keeping functions small and focused on a single responsibility. When one function does too many things, testing and maintenance become difficult. In this code, processes become tightly coupled, making reuse and modification difficult. By splitting functions, their roles become clear and testing becomes easier. Next, let's look at actively using type hints. Type hints serve as documentation and are a powerful tool to prevent bugs. In this code, the types of arguments and return values are unclear, making misuse likely. With type hints, IDE completion, static analysis, and readability greatly improve. Next, let's look at explicitly indicating the possibility of returning none. Functions that may return none are often overlooked by those who use them. In this code, it is unclear whether there will be a return value. By using optional, you can convey the possibility of returning none as a type. Next, let's look at not catching exceptions too broadly. Exception handling should basically catch only what is necessary. This code may hide bugs that should have been noticed. By restricting exceptions, you will not overlook unexpected issues. Next, let's look at safely handling resources with the with statement. Resources such as files and locks must always be reliably released. In this code, if an exception occurs, close may not be called. By using a with statement, cleanup is safely performed even if an exception occurs. Next, let's look at appropriately using list comprehensions. Simple transformation processes can be written concisely using list comprehensions. In this code, the core process is hard to see. By using list comprehensions appropriately, code readability improves. Next, let's look at avoiding magic numbers. Writing numbers and strings directly makes their meaning unclear. In this code, it is assumed that you know the meaning of 404. Giving names makes intentions clear. Finally, let's look at writing code that is maintainable, not just code that works. The important point is whether your future self or others can read it. In this code, the specification cannot be understood from the code. By reflecting meaning in names, the code itself becomes the specification. Python best practices boil down to writing code that is easy to understand, rather than clever code. Building small habits leads to code with fewer bugs that can be used for a long time. The source code for this video can be downloaded from the official website. If you like, please visit the URL in the description to aid your learning. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate your support by subscribing to the channel.